Malmark handbells are built to last. Occasionally, however, you may experience minor difficulties. Here's a guide to help you trace and correct some common problems. Clicking sounds mean, most likely, that the restraining spring is at a slanted angle and not parallel to the bearing block. The inside edge of the springs should not touch the bearing block. First, check to see the spring is properly installed. Sometimes, when restraining springs are tightened, they will touch the block. If this happens, you may sand the edge of the spring. If you hear thudding sounds, first check to see if the clapper screw is tight. Next, check the clapper felts for wear. If your bell buzzes, first make sure all handle and main assembly screws are tight. Next, make sure that the isolation sleeve is in the correct position on the coupler shaft so that the bell casting does not touch the metal part of that shaft. Finally, check the casting for possible cracks due to impact. For any other loose sounds, check the bearing screws. If you find side-to-side movement of the clapper shaft, simply tighten the bearings, but not too tightly. Bearing screws that are too tight will result in hesitant or slow clapper movement. Another cause of slow clapper movement might be lint, dirt, or polish that is accumulated in and around the bearing screws. Clean the area with a lint-free cloth or lighter fluid. If your bell's clapper head is misaligned, check that the clapper indexing spring is properly installed on the clapper shaft. Cracked handles are usually caused by incorrect handling or restraining springs that are too tight. In fact, improper adjustment of restraining springs is the primary cause of many problems. And finally, if the casting turns, tighten the main assembly screw. Make sure that this screw is always tight except when turning the casting to select another strike point. When properly secured, there is no reason for looseness to develop during normal use of the bells. If the casting still turns, make sure the lock washers are on both sides of the casting.